This is probably the most Clifton-y Clifton since the Clifton One. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, guys? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. It's the middle of the week. I'm delivering you another video, whether it means I have time to do my hair or not. In this case, not, so we're going with this hat. I finally have another shoe that is ready for full review. Finally made it to the 50 miles, and that is the Hoka Clifton 7. Into my history with the Clifton line too much. If you're interested in that, I'll link the first run impressions to this shoe above. But what I will say, just to summarize it, is that I love Cliftons, and the Clifton One was basically my first shoe that really got me into running shoe technology. So I owe a lot to this line of shoes. If you're unfamiliar with my full reviews, let me give you a rundown. First, I start with the specs, then we go to the upper, the midsole, the outsole, and then I give you my conclusions on the shoe. And then I also rate the shoe out of 5 stars. So if it's the best shoe I've ever worn and I never want to take it off my foot, it's gonna be 5 stars. And if it's the worst shoe I've ever worn and I'm never gonna wear it again, it's gonna be 1 star. Then at the end, I'm gonna throw up a screen with the pros and the cons so you can get a visual idea of what I like and dislike. Sound good? Before we get started today, I do want to let you guys know that this shoe was sent to me by Running Warehouse. However, they're not going to see this video before you. Hoka's not going to see this video before you. No one is going to see this video before you, and all of my thoughts and opinions on this shoe are authentic and completely my own. In order to streamline things a little bit more, I'm not going to talk about every single detail of the upper, the midsole, the outsole. I'm really going to focus mostly on how they've held up through the 50 miles that I've taken them on. All right, let's get on with it. Let's start with the specs. The Hoka Clifton 7 is 7.1 ounces for a women's size 8, but for my size 10.5 women's, this shoe came in at 9.1 ounces. It has a 5mm drop with 32mm of stack in the heel and 27 in the forefoot. And yes, the Clifton 7 is true to size. The upper of the Hoka Clifton 7 is a pretty seamless, breathable mesh. We don't see a ton of overlays here. We just have somewhat of a toe cap or a toe guard. And then you have some reinforced eye stays by the lace holes to give you a nice lockdown fit. And then we have some reinforcement in the heel area. I was pretty impressed with how breathable this upper was. It's not the most breathable shoe that I've ever worn, but for the way it looks pretty thick. And it feels moderately thick, but it was actually breathable, and on some hotter days, I did feel some airflow through that toe box, which was great. Another thing that I really liked about this material was that it's soft, so it feels extremely comfortable on the top of your foot. It just kind of hugs you there. There's not really any seams in here that could cause discomfort. Something that I did notice though was that the shoe has a little bit of volume in that toe box. If I wear a regular sock, it's fine, it's workable, and if I cinch down the laces pretty tight, then I don't really have an issue. But if I wear a thicker sock, it feels better and more filled out, if that makes sense. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's wide. I felt like I had an average amount of room for my toes to splay. The room is kind of like up here. But one thing that helped with that was the gusseted tongue. Once I would cinch down the laces, I would get a nice lockdown fit through the midfoot of the shoe. So even though I had a lot of room here, I felt pretty secure because of this lockdown area and also because of the sturdy heel counter. So overall, I do really like this upper. I like the material. I think it's soft. I think it's breathable. It's more refined than the earlier Clifton versions. There's no question about that. Yeah, I just think the main thing I would point out is we got a little bit of space in this area. The midsole of the Clifton 7 is made of Hoka's full compression EVA, delivering you a nice, soft Hoka signature feel. We have an early stage Metarocker in this shoe as well that helps to roll you forward in your stride, and a slightly beveled heel for a smoother transition. The Clifton 7 definitely feels softer than where I had left off running in, which was like the 4. I mean, there's no comparison. This is absolutely softer. And like I said, I have the Clifton 6 just for casual wear, and this feels a lot softer than that. This is a very soft, protective shoe. So for me, that falls best into like my easy day category. If your legs are feeling banged up, maybe you've done a bunch of hard efforts that week and you just want something that's gonna baby your foot and you're gonna feel like you're walking or running on a pillow, then this is exactly the shoe that you should be putting on your foot. I mean, it is so ridiculously comfortable. Another positive to this midsole foam is that while it's soft, I don't feel like it's really lost any of its life over the course of 50 miles. If anything, I think maybe it's just gotten a tad bit softer, but I don't think it's compressing and dying out too quickly, which I was concerned about because of how soft it is, but it seems like it's really not an issue at all, which is great. One thing that I did point out in my first run impressions, and I do kind of want to reiterate, is I don't really feel this early stage Metarocker that this shoe has. You might not feel like you're getting a ton of help in this shoe, and sometimes that's how I felt. When I did try to pick up the pace in this shoe a couple of times, I did get a little bit of calf, I wouldn't say pain, I would say more like discomfort, and it might just be because I'm not really used to running in a shoe this soft anymore. But I think if that Metarocker was a little more pronounced, then I wouldn't have that problem. One great thing about this shoe that I mentioned in my first run impressions as well is that I feel like it's pretty stable for being a neutral shoe. It's great if you're looking for a little bit of stability, but you don't really want to go full stability or don't want to go the stability route at all. This is a perfect option. While I don't think the Clifton 7's midsole has the same versatility that the Clifton 1's midsole had, I do think that if we're just looking at this shoe for what it is and we're forgetting about the past, this midsole does really well. If we turn this shoe over, you'll see that Hoka is using some lightweight high abrasion rubber in the forefoot with some exposed EVA material in the midfoot and some more rubber in the heel. I think in almost every version, the midfoot has been completely exposed EVA, and the reasoning for that is because Hoka believes that the Metarocker technology helps to promote a forefoot running stride, so they think you really don't need anything in this area. And I would agree with that. I think even though I can't really feel that Metarocker technology, like I said earlier, I do find myself more up on the forefoot of the shoe and not really landing in this midfoot too much. I think in the places that do have rubber, it's pretty solid and I don't really see any real wear on the shoe. I mean, the traction pattern is still there. This outsole has pounded pavement, grass, sand, dirt, you name it, wet conditions also. And I had absolutely no problems with traction at all. I felt like it gripped onto every surface perfectly fine. And another great thing about this rubber that they're using, this lightweight high abrasion rubber, is I don't feel like it gets in the way of the ride of the shoe. So I mean, that's really all I can say. Thumbs up on the outsole. So here we are at the conclusion. What do I think? What are my full thoughts on the Clifton 7? This shoe did absolutely get me excited about Cliftons again. I think it's a nice, fairly lightweight package that will protect your foot and gives you that nice, cushiony, pillowy feeling that Hokas are supposed to give you. It gives me hope that Hoka is back on track with this Clifton lineup. That being said, I'm not trying to hang on to the past too much here, but I do want to point out what the Clifton once was, and it was a lot more versatile than this shoe. I can't get over how far we've gotten away from that. So with all that said, the Hoka Clifton 7 gets 3.5 out of 5 stars. Still a really solid score, and it was one of my favorite trainers that I've worn this summer. All right, so now let's throw up the screen with the pros and the cons. For pros, I have that soft Hoka feel, the comfortable material of the upper, the decently lightweight package, the great traction, and the fact that, for me, it is the perfect easy day shoe. For cons, I have that it's not as versatile as previous Cliftons. I don't really feel that Metarocker technology. It's almost too soft at times, and there's a little too much volume in the forefoot for me personally. The Hoka Clifton 7 is $129.95 on runningwarehouse.com. I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can click that and pick up your own pair. Keep in mind it is an affiliate link, which doesn't really mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep making these videos and hopefully helping somebody out there pick their favorite pair of shoes. That's the main goal every time. But yeah, I'm back on the Hoka train. I like the Clifton 7. I think it's a great shoe, and I'm really excited to see what the 8 will look like one day. How does Hoka think that they can improve upon this shoe? That's what I'm interested in seeing. Well guys, that concludes my full review of the Hoka Clifton 7. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit that notifications bell down below so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Hoka! I have another video for you guys on Sunday, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like heller. See you next time. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. No. Oh, terrible. Oh.